There's a website where they're all connected together, and it's been in operation for, I believe, about 5 years. I'm not certain on that, but it's a relatively new but sort of established group. The reason I went, as Ray said, I'm co-chair of our local group, and the co-chairs sit on the board of directors. And I wanted to go to a board meeting of this group and attend a convention. There's lots of fun things that go on at these conventions. It is, for example, at one part on the first day after we were finished with the board meeting, there was a gap there, and everybody that was there for the convention wandered right down the hall to where the hotel bar was. And it is a unusual experience. I mean, for me, most of my life, I didn't know any other atheists.
Right.
And here I find myself in a bar, and you can't swing a cat without hitting an atheist.
That would be a treat.
What a scene, right?
That would be a treat.
It was good. It was a lot of fun, and there was some serious discussion. And then later on in the convention, there was some the speakers. There were some that were just hilarious, very funny. There was Annie Laurie Gaylor was there, who talked about women in free thought. Dr. Michael Martin, who's written a number of very popular atheist books. He's a very interesting man. Spoke about educating an atheist, what an atheist needs to know, what they need to do. And overall, it was a very kind of uplifting, recharging kind of experience, and I enjoyed it very much. And I appreciate the opportunity to be able to go to something like that.
We appreciate you representing our group up there and to try to get us out there on a national level. Our concerns are definitely Austin and the community and everything else, but we do want to reach out and try to organize the atheists. The theocratic right there is so well organized that we definitely need to let the congressmen and senators and everybody else know that atheists out there that vote and we organize,
right.
And we do count. So.
Right. And the vast majority of atheists are not organized. Most atheists do not belong to any kinds of groups. But if you're an atheist and you're listening, I would suggest that there are really two kinds of groups that you should consider joining. One is a local group. It is so much fun to be able to sit down and talk with people that are of the same persuasion. You find that you have a lot in common. Also, the national groups have their role to play. I mean, you may not get the opportunity to put names with faces, but they will typically draw from a wider base for their newsletters, and you will be more informed about what's going on in the country. And national groups have the opportunity to participate in lawsuits. To protect our rights and have a higher profile for news releases and things like that. So both of those are important. I would suggest that people try to be involved on both levels.
And so was there any special discussion possibly on the access channels? Are the atheists getting out on the access channels?
Atheists are getting out on access channels. There's several things going on with that. First of all, American Atheists kind of started this with their own program when Madeline was around,
right.
and got on a lot of access stations. Atheist Alliance, mainly through some groups that are in California, but it's spreading, have started producing tapes that people can sponsor on their local access stations. And we were considering doing that some time back when the first seeds were being planted about this show.
This is true, yeah.
And it was something that we thought about and then rejected because we thought this would be more fun.
Yes.
And I think it is. It's turned out to be a lot of fun.
Thank you. So, yes, we are live April 19th. We will take your calls here. If you're up and watching here on Sunday morning here, like I say, this Atheist Community of Austin, we do meet every Sunday at the Hot Jumbo Bakery once we leave here. It's about 10:30 down at 5th and Lavaca, and it's free and open to the public. I always welcome to meet new faces there. I always like to see the new faces there. Starting to see a couple lights there. That's good.
Website?
Sure. We do have a website, and Joe's real good at that.
Okay, we have a website. Check it out, www.atheist-community.org.
And our voicemail is 371-2911. That's
right.
24 hours a day. So try to call through and you can't get through today, feel free to leave any questions or comments there on our voicemail, and we'll try to answer those. If not maybe on the air or something. You know, if you can't get through with a question, feel free to leave it there, and we've been discussing this. We do run across several common questions all the time, and one of them running across all the time is, do we believe in an afterlife? I don't know why we get that all the time, but people are really concerned with what happens to you after you're dead. And we're just part of the whole cycle of life and death here on this planet, and to think that we're any more significant than any other life form on here, to think that we're going to carry on through eternity, is quite amazing there that people actually, but I guess that's their dream to live on, and we all have that a little bit, I guess. We do have a caller here. Let's try the lines here and see if everything's working this morning. Barry?
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Barry.
Good morning, sir. I don't practice organized religion. I was born a Baptist, but through many years, about 15 years of research, I've found that I'm very disillusioned with organized religion, such as Catholicism and Protestantism and all of that. But I've never quite been able to get a clear definition of what an atheist is, and I wonder if you could explain that.
Thank you. And that is a common question, and I'm going to go ahead and catch up. We're getting some feedback here.
That's Aaron.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for calling.
And we need to remind people that turn your TV down when you call in, or we get a loop going here.
Yeah.
But the definition of atheism.
Or an atheist. Okay, I have a definition. An atheist is a person who does not have a set or a system of beliefs on or about the supernatural, and the supernatural includes gods and goddesses and angels and saints and devils and souls and supposed supernatural powers of things like voodoo, black magic, Santeria, things like that. That includes all your little things too, your astrology, tarot, card reading, palm reading, everything under that all falls under, in my mind, a criteria what basically is that a claim that can't be proven. And we wait for proof of these things. Until then, I have to discard them out of utter logic and reason in my own mind and intellectual integrity, and that's basically why I'm an atheist.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up, unless you want to add something there, Don.
I just want to say that when you trace the word back to its roots, you get free from theism. Atheist, free from theism. And theism involves beliefs in gods, but the supernatural is kind of all wrapped up together with that, and the atheists that I know, we kind of reject it all.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's, like I say, that's a good question, and we get that a lot. What is an atheist? And like I said, we was talking about the question about afterlife. Well, we rattled off three right before the show. What was the other two?
Oh, let's see. Where did everything come from?
Oh,
yeah.
Where did everything come from?
Yes.
Oh.
I heard something offset there or whatever, and we got people running in and out. But
we don't know, basically. Okay. You don't need to stop for her. We don't know where everything came from. There are many interesting theories on where everything came from and how life got started and all. All we can do is basically formulate educated guesses. And I think for sure that science can come up with the best method for finding the answers. And we can pretty much discard unproven ideas or ideas that are completely improbable. And that way come up with the best method of finding the truth, and I think for sure that science has the best track record in that area. Anyway, that's one.
That's basically exactly my feeling. I don't need to know everything.
Yeah.
But what science? The knowledge of science evolves, and they know so much more now than they did 100 years ago. It's just awesome, or even 20 years ago. It's incredible. Now we can actually, physicists theorize about the beginnings of this universe. with the Big Bang Theory and all that. And to me, that's incredible to be able to talk rationally, theorize about events billions of years ago. Mm-hmm. That's just amazing. And those things that we don't know, I'm comfortable not having a clear answer. Yeah. It's okay to say we think this. We think this might have happened.
I think the best way to approach these questions, if you really want to find out the truth, is as an unbiased manner as possible, and with as little emotional attachment to the end result, whether it be in agreement with you or not. I think a lot of people approach questions and finding the answers to the really deep questions in life with an answer already in their mind, that they're looking for that one answer, and if they don't happen to find it, then something's wrong, and they've got to keep looking for that one answer. But when reality comes along, a lot of people have trouble with that, and obviously that science is looked upon by those people and many others as being rather evil, for lack of a better word, when I think reality is just a whole lot more important than my own emotional attachment to whichever outcome I find. We're having mic fun today.
Yeah, we're having technical difficulties. I've been quiet all this time. Is it all right now? Okay.
Right.
Can you do atheist profile?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, actually, what it's called is my weekly segment, Unsung Atheist Hero or Heroine of the Week. And today's pick is Josephine K. Henry, who lived from 1846 to 1928. She was a resident of Versailles, Kentucky. She wrote extensively for the free thought periodical The Bluegrass Blade concerning all manner of religious topics. Her articles on women's rights and free thought also appeared in the Winchester, Kentucky Sun-Sentinel, the Woodford Sun, Louisville Courier-Journal, Herald Leader, Versailles Clarion, The Culturist, Searchlight, and Southern Journal. An extremely dedicated women's rights advocate, she spoke before the Kentucky legislature repeatedly, targeting property rights and suffrage, and spent her own funds to copy and send pamphlets to all state and national government representatives. She was especially busy during the Kentucky Constitutional Convention, which she viewed as the perfect time to grant women equal citizenship with men. She was the first woman in the South to run for state office as clerk of the Court of Appeals in 1890. Josephine was nominated as superintendent of public instruction by both the Prohibition Party and the State Populist Convention. She was a speaker at National American Women's Suffrage Conventions, elected auditor for that group, and served as the first vice president of the National Liberal Party. She also served as president of the American Free Thought Association. A good friend of Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Josephine was thrown out of the Kentucky Equal Rights Association, which she had supported for years, both financially and through traveling, speaking, and writing for her participation in the Woman's Bible, for which Elizabeth Cady Stanton was also condemned. In 1920, she was presented with the Pioneer Distinguished Service Award by the National American Women's Suffrage Association. And we have a quote. This is from Josephine K. Henry. Quote, "It is claimed that women owe their advancement to the Bible. It would be quite as true to say that they owe their improved condition to the almanac or to the vernal equinox. Under Bible influence, woman has been burned as a witch, sold in the shambles, reduced to a drudge and a pauper, and silenced and subjected before her ecclesiastical and marital lawgivers," unquote. Josephine K. Henry, my unsung atheist hero, heroine of the week.
Excellent. So now it appears the microphones have all been worked back out, so I can now talk again.
Excellent.
And we are live, April 19th. That's the telephone number there. We will take your calls. And I do appreciate your contribution there on Unsung Heroes. It goes well to point out, being a secular nation like this, how much atheists did contribute to American history there. And they did, a strong, mostly silent contribution because of the persecution that atheists do feel. And that'd be an excellent point. I'd love to hear some of from our callers there, and our atheist callers out there that would have their own little stories there about possible persecutions that they feel being an atheist in day-to-day life. That it's not supposed to be a Christian nation, but they would have you think it is a Christian nation, and we run into it all the time there. We have a special request from the floor manager for women callers.
Well, we're all equal-minded.
Yes, and yes, but just the quote there, you was talking to how much persecution, thanks to the Bible, that women have suffered through the years because of the Bible. It seems to me that it seemed like there would be quite a few women atheists out there. Madeline being the first one everybody thinks of, I'm sure. Yeah. But the research and the stories I've read and everything else from the Bible there, if I was a woman, I would not want to be any part of the...
Yeah, it's a mess in the Bible for women. There are all kinds of instances there where the woman got the shaft. Literally, even Mary didn't really naturally get to have a real birth, right? And not a real natural birth. She was shafted out of that, but anyway, a whole lot of
other kids, didn't she?
Mary? Not before, I don't believe.
Afterwards,
I don't know. Mary pretty much disappeared from the picture, didn't she?
I thought Jesus had brothers and sisters.
3? All right, well, great.
Well, there's some stories about, I don't know about sister, but there's stories about brothers. James, of course.
James.
So.
Okay.
Yes. See the lights lined up there.
We got one. All
this
right.
is April 19th. We do we're on here every Sunday morning. I should remind you that next Sunday is our lecture series, so it will be a tape show next Sunday, but every other Sunday after that, 9 a.m., Channel 16, we're here every week. We do love hearing from Austin there and the religious and atheist part of it there, and we do have a caller here. And let's see if the phone lines are working. Good morning, caller.
Morning.
Hello?
Craig.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Hi, my name is Craig.
Hello.
Good morning.
And I wanted to ask you about your definition of atheism seems to include agnosticism. Is that true?
In a way, I guess, agnostics would would actually fall into that in a way, I think.
I don't know. I think a lot of agnostics start off with a belief system, starting off with, we don't know, but there's probably something.
Yeah, I think that's true because, I mean, I was raised a Catholic. I went to Catholic grade school and I was extremely devout and everything. And I went through years and years
too is what he's agreeing with.
Go ahead.
Of turmoil, of learning, and it's like you come to a point where you just can't shed that great fatherly figure. I don't know.
Well, a lot of it has to do with the vanity of the human being, just wanting to, think that there is a special place here in this universe, that that beautiful sunset that we're seeing there is, all meant just for us. And
it's hard. It's difficult. You're talking about a basic assumption about the universe, and to turn around and say to confront that and work through that to the other side is not an easy thing for a great many people.
Yeah,
it's a humbling experience.
It's a little challenging.
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself agnostic?
Yes, I do, but I'm not real sure if I consider myself an atheist. That's why I was wondering.
That's okay.
A lot of people go through that. I think many people that now call themselves atheists at one time called themselves an agnostic.
I did for years.
An agnostic, you can kind of straddle the fence a little bit. You can say, I'm not religious, but as far as God and all that, I don't know.
It's a safer position to say the least.
It is a safe position, a safer position.
Safer.
You don't have the same baggage with the word agnostic as you do with atheist. Atheist carries a lot of baggage. Let me ask you: have you ever known any atheists that that they said they were atheists and all that?
And we're serious about it?
Pardon?
Have you ever known any atheists?
No, I really haven't. Or at least a lot of people don't seem to want to admit it because they're afraid, because you really get a lot of heat put on you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
That's where the problem of counting atheists comes
Because
in.
I get a lot of heat put on me if I just say I'm not a Christian. I've had a few times where a person, maybe one of the first things they say to me, "Are you a Christian?"
Right.
And you almost feel like you have to say yes because they feel like you're the devil if you say no.
Right. That's another. I read an interesting article there, but people automatically think Christian and they think good.
Or you're safe around my kids or something like that, you know?
yes, our altar boys or whatever else.
What?
I can't read your writing, Keith.
Sorry, our stage manager. You have another question? We have
I just want to say that, keep up the good work. I think you guys are doing a great thing there. A great service that needs to be out there. I'm glad to see you. And I wanted to say that I think I tuned in a couple of weeks ago for the first time, and I heard Joe give a definition from a baron, I think, of theology.
Baron
it was so simple and beautiful that I couldn't believe that I hadn't thought of it myself.
Let me pull that out again.
What was it? The ignorance of natural causes reduced to a system.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And that made it worth watching the whole program. Just hearing that.
It was the quote, right?
Right.
Yeah. Here we go.
And we'll do that again. Here it is again.
This is Baron D. Holbach. Quote: "Theology is but the ignorance of natural causes reduced to a system."
Yes.
So simple. I couldn't believe I hadn't thought of it before.
Okay.
You have a good day now.
It was eloquent, and I'd just like to say to Craig.
Sure. Go ahead.
This kind of hostility, the baggage that we talk about with the word atheist. The only way to get through this is for those of us that have decided that yes, this is this is correct. If we believe that way, if I can use that somewhat touchy word,
well, right.
Then you gotta say so.
And also, I think what I heard one of you say before, that at least under atheism, there's nothing that allows you to do wrong to other people, whereas in religion there is.
That's an interesting concept.
Well, I couldn't agree with that more. To me, if people, I know lots of religious people that are moral. I know lots of atheist people that are moral. If people make the decision to be moral, but frankly, the books like the Bible can get in the way of being moral. I heard a real interesting talk on the public radio station on KUT the other day, and this fellow was talking about ethnic cleansing in Bosnia.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everybody I know in this country thinks that is just terrible. The Bible says it's okay.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
That's what it is in Bosnia, by the way, the Christians versus the Muslims.
That's right. That's right. And the religious people I know don't look at it that way. I mean, that it's like I don't know, God gets religion in the New Testament or whatever, and God only wants good. And if that's your belief, I'm not trying to persuade anybody out of that, but I agree with you that atheists can be moral. Just like anybody else, got to try.
Yeah.
Try to do the right thing.
Can I ask you, have you heard of a book called Lila by Robert Persig? The guy who wrote Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance?
I've heard of it. Our cameraman says he likes it. Yeah.
Well, it's an excellent book about evolution, and evolution theory of life and so forth. I mean, if you get a chance, it's a great book to read.
Okay.
Appreciate your call.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Craig.
Bye-bye.
Give us a call next week, too.
Yes. So we now have Dan online. Let's see. Good morning, caller.
Hi, good morning to you.
Morning, Dan.
Just happened across your show. One thing, we do another call-in show on another evening, and we get calls sometimes, the Libertarian Forum, we get calls from people that feel, their argument with us is they feel that no one can do good unless there's a threat of a deity above them that will punish them. To me, the thing about atheism is that, oh, my bird just flew away. He was over here visiting. They believe that human nature is so corrupt that you need some big daddy with a stick that'll punish you unless you're good. One question I have, you seem to have a big book of quotations there. I vaguely remember a quotation about what prayer is, something like the unworthy asking the unknowable for the undoable, or something like that.
For the sake of the ignorant, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I've heard that quote. That's an excellent one.
Man, that's wonderful. I wish, but you don't have it in your little book, though, huh?
No, that one I don't actually know where that one's. I can look for that next week, maybe bring it, or the week after.
Yes, that's an excellent. That's the first time I've heard that quote.
Pretty good, that too.
That's a new one on me. I like the sound of that. Yes.
Yeah, one interesting thing, you guys are smiling a lot. There was another show on where everybody was all real sour. That lady that disappeared.
Madeline?
Yeah. I mean,
what show was that? Our show?
Huh?
Was that our show?
No, she had her own show.
Oh, the Atheist
okay.
Forum. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
and just everybody's all serious and sour and how bad religion is, and you guys I just watch it for a few minutes here, but at least you're happy and upbeat about things, especially this early in the morning.
Right.
Thank you.
And I think that's a better image. We don't want to be sour like the some of these other religions that waiting for the hellfire and brimstone. If it doesn't happen, they're disappointed.
Yes, and I appreciate your call there.
Okay, have fun with life, and everything will fall into place, I think.
Call us back, too.
Yeah.
Okay.
You take
Take care, guys. Bye.
But he brought up an excellent point there about so many people need that big stick there at the end there to do right now. I find that it's the consequences or rewards of your actions that you receive now make so much more impact on my outlook on life. That whether because there's a lot of people out there that would get they're going to go through life giving hell to everybody, thinking I'm not going to hell. I'm going to get saved here, 5 minutes before I go, and
It's
all
like
that.
you give hell, you don't get hell, right?
Yeah.
And what he was talking about with the people are naturally corrupt, and so they won't behave unless they have the threat hanging over them. I think that's the basis for the oaths that we have, which we don't like, by the way. Where you have when you go into to serve as a juror, and I like to do my civic duty. I've served on a jury before. Well, you've got to make special arrangements or holler out no when they ask you if you do. Otherwise, you have to swear a religious oath, and I don't think that's right. I just don't think that's appropriate. I think you can do it without that. Although it's kind of paradoxical to ask somebody if they're going to tell the truth.
Right.
Right. What's the point?
Yeah. That's good.
That's what I would say. I'm here to tell the truth. Now sit down. That's all I need to talk to you about. Put the Bible away.
If you're not going to tell the truth, you're going to lie about that too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, if you're a liar, you're going to lie. Yeah.
That renders the oath totally ineffectual. Yeah.
So we do have another caller on the line here, Mary Lou, I think. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
That quote you were mentioning about the unknowable and undoable about prayer,
Yes.
that's from the Devil's Dictionary by Ambrose Bierce,
Yes.
Oh.
the guy who disappeared in Mexico.
He disappeared in Mexico.
Yeah, I guess he just partied too hard.
That's cool.
Well, it's a good way to go. I'd rather die in mirth than die in misery.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm an atheist. I don't know. Those things we've got so many problems. All that stuff about where we came from is just in the back seat for me.
Right.
We're here now, and we've got all this work because we sure have made a mess of it.
Well, there's been so many wars and persecution over religion.
Right, and where the religious morality fails is where they believe that they can only be good because somebody makes them be good. And that's not a genuine morality to me. The only genuine morality there is the one that comes from your heart that says, I want to be good because it makes a better world.
Yes.
The hell with all these
It's the right thing to
bosses.
do.
Yeah.
I mean, I use the word hell because it's a habit, because there really is no such thing.
I'd say you're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, but
Well, it's good to talk about these things on the TV on
right,
Sunday
because
morning.
maybe somebody's listening that,
Yes.
if their mind is still open.
Yes.
That's it. That's all I've got to say.
All right.
Mary Lou, we'd like to invite you to a meeting since you.
Jumbo bagelry?
It sounds like you're agnostic about whether you're an atheist, but I think if you came by and had a bagel with us, you'd probably know pretty soon.
That'd be cool. I'm going to make it some morning. It's just so hard to get out of the house on Sunday morning. And because you're here and it's so fun being here with you.
Well, thank you.
I mean, that's after this, we go there. So, we got time.
I'm going to find a way to do it.
All right.
Later.
Let me ask you one more question. Have you ever known an atheist?
Yeah, Madeline Muriel Hare.
Oh, you met her?
Yeah,
Yeah, she was people don't know this, but she was really a nice lady.
She could be very charming, is what I've heard.
And I feel really lucky to be one of the people who knows that. And I really wish we knew what happened to her, because I miss her.
Yeah, and last Monday was her birthday, right?
Yes, and Thomas
How old would
Jefferson.
she have been?
79, I believe.
Gosh, I'm already talking about her like she's in the past tense. That's terrible.
Hey, she was in such bad health.
And it's going to come to me too. But I miss the old girl. She made Austin a good place to live. And now that she's gone, now all we left with is these empty-headed yuppies. Anyway, I guess money's important to them. What the hell? Yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, maybe one morning I'll see y'all there.
Okay. Glad to meet you.
Take it easy. Bye.
Take it. No.
Great call.
Yes.
Thanks for calling.
Yes. This is live, April 19th. That's our number there on the bottom of the screen. We love hearing other atheists out there.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. It's fun.
And putting a good face to the atheists. Like the one caller was saying, I'd seen some of those old tapes with Madeline, and you're right, they were quite serious.
They were dry,
dry.
Really dry.
Good work. Yeah.
And we didn't have phone calls coming in on that show. This is a big difference, I think, with our show, is that talking openly and live at the same time can make for a lot of jocularity, right?
That's right. But that was how it got started. I mean, you start an idea and it evolves.
Yes.
And one thing, we've had a lot of conversation in our group about Madeline. And Madeline was discussed at the convention. And a lot of atheists have kind of mixed feelings. There's kind of a contradiction there. Because I was in I think, junior high or high school when the Supreme Court decision came down, or at least when I found out about it. And we had prayers every day over the loudspeaker. And I didn't think it bothered anybody else. Madeline was out there fighting things that I still believe were unjust. On the other hand, she was extremely direct, and she made a lot of enemies. For many people, it made it hard to come out and say you're an atheist because it wasn't perceived very positively, and she had a role to play in that.
And then the money and the disappearance added another black eye to her reputation. But we hope the best for her, and if she's still alive out there.
That's right. That's right. And her organization is still alive and well.
Yeah.
Yes.
And publishing and doing court cases and all that. And the culture of the organization seems to be changing a little bit. They communicate more with other atheist organizations and work more with other organizations. And in a way, she couldn't have picked a better time.
Interesting.
It was a black eye for us, but we needed to get beyond that.
So, while we got a minute here, just remind you folks again that our lecture series next Sunday at FERS, and my mind just escaped the name again. I'm sorry.
Steve Bradding.
Yes.
You're having to scrape too. I'm certainly not remembering.
It's just one of those mornings here this morning.
Spontaneity.
Yes. Oh, and also while I have a moment here, I would like to say goodbye to a good friend of mine, John Precious, who's heading off to Florida here Monday. Going back to, he's originally from Florida, and he's heading back that way. Gonna miss you, Johnny, and take care. We love you. Well, I love you. These guys don't even know you.
Hey.
But this is back to the show. April 19th. This is live. We will be taking your call in. If you want any questions you ever had that you'd like to ask an atheist,
we have a question for you also. If you'd like to call in and give us an answer, have you ever known an atheist?
Yes. That's an excellent point there. We'd like to hear other people out there that have known, that don't consider themselves an atheist but know other atheists, and just to let the community and Austin and everybody else know, that we're real people, that we're out there paying our taxes, voting, and we're trying to make Austin a better place.
We also set a date for the next blood drive.
Oh, we did, yes, June. The solstice, right?
I don't know. I think it's the 11th or the 17th. We'll have to get back to you on that. But we're having yes. The vernal equinox is what it is, really, right?
Oh yes.
Or is it summer solstice?
Summer solstice.
We'll work on that. But in June, we're going to have a blood drive. We're trying to have them just over 2 months apart, so everybody has plenty of time to make more blood in their body. And the last one was great. Our first one, that was last Saturday, the 11th, and I gave blood, and several other atheists did, and actually took it. Ooh.
Yes. Yes, they didn't turn away the atheist blood. Yes,
they're great people down there, by the way. They'll take your blood, and
Right. They do good work.
it doesn't even hurt. Amazing.
Don't they have like cookies and stuff down there?
Yes.
Yes.
And I needed a meal that day, so I went down there and I said, "Hook me up, right?" And you can gorge.
Oh yes, we were talking about persecution that we feel as atheists. We have a what if book here. What if a situation had been reversed here and atheists ran the world? Who knows what might have happened?
Sort of a true, false, what if kind of a thing for a little bit of shock value on a Sunday morning. What if, or true or false? Politicians try to win votes by declaring how strongly they disbelieve in God. Or most public figures are wasps, that is, wise atheistic secular people. That one kind of jumped out at me. Hey, thank you very much. A little bit of make-believe would be nice, too. In many courthouses across the country, inverted crosses and other anti-religious symbols figure prominently in judges' chambers and even in the courtroom itself. No one seems to consider that Christians might find this offensive. Or, how about this? During inauguration ceremonies, the president-elect is expected to finish his oath by spitting on the Holy Cross as a sign of his rejection of irrational Christianity. You figure that out. True or false, right? Is that real or not? If the president-elect refused to do so, this would inevitably generate a great deal of distrust among the public. And then a really good one was the True or False Dictionary definition for Christian and atheist. Christian, a person who denies the non-existence of God. Or the second definition for Christian, undarwinly or immoral or wicked. And that's true or false again, so a little bit of make-believe here. The atheist is a person who, as a follower of Darwin, has a loving regard for others. Number 2 is a decent, respectable person. Now, of course, the dictionary doesn't really say that. If you go to Webster's dictionary, you might find quite the opposite type of situation. We got a call.
Yes. Let's go back to the lines here. Good morning, caller.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Betty.
Actually, I had two questions. How do atheists deal with death? And if you have, are your families all atheists, or are some of your families Christian or whatever? And how do you deal with that?
Excellent question. I'm the only outwardly atheist in my family, and they give me grief over it quite often there. And but I mean, jokingly, my family. I was actually raised in a Methodist, baptized in a Methodist, and they still go every Christmas and Easter, and they think they're good Christians. They're out there, and the C&E Christians there, but now. But for the most part, my family's pretty much open to it now. Especially now, I have my TV show and everything else. And,
this is helping then.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, this is helping. Yes. You want to comment on your family?
Oh, sure. Most of my family is somewhat lightly religious. I was raised in a Roman Catholic home, and it's not a big issue with them right now. I'm glad to say we did our arguing and we're done. So I don't really push it, and they don't push me. They know I don't participate in things like hiding Easter eggs or going and buying lots of presents during Christmas and stuff like that. But your other question about how do atheists treat death or approach that if there aren't any religious funerals that take place for atheists. Atheists generally don't have any need for that. And when it comes to a funeral, especially if it's an atheist who's died, we kind of try to look out for each other in that way and make sure that there isn't a lot of religion sneaked into it, which happens a lot. But myself, I like to be cremated and take up no space, real estate, and the earth we have here, while homeless people go homeless even by the family. I think cemeteries are a big waste of real estate. But
how would you deal with losing someone, though? I mean, wouldn't it give you more comfort to think of them that they're someplace more pleasant, or?
I'd like to address that because I have just been through that recently. I lost both of my parents last year. Both of them were Christians, and they had Christian services as they requested. I also many years ago now lost a daughter. Let me tell you that for an atheist or a Christian, death of a loved one, especially a child, is a devastating experience. And we do the same things that religious people do. We comfort one another, we grieve, and there's usually some kind of a ritual that takes place. And I think that's part of culture, part of being human, is that family and friends come together when somebody's hurting. And it's the same for us as it is for them. We don't grieve any less. They don't grieve any less because of the heaven or whatever. And I've always suspected that one reason for that is that it's really, I mean, you say, that so-and-so's up in heaven. But it's hard to just really believe that. That's why we always say there are no Christians in foxholes. Because everybody, when it comes right down to it, is just as scared of death. It fears death just as much. You may really, really believe really hard that you're going to paradise afterwards. It's hard to really believe that. I've never been so certain about anything, about my personal philosophy or whatever, as about atheism, because the facts fit together for that. And my mom and dad understood that. They tolerated me, and it was something we could talk about. And one thing that helped is that my great-grandfather was an atheist. My mom's grandfather was an atheist.
Well, I appreciate your call.
Thank you.
Yes. You have a good day. Do you have a comment?
Well, I was going to say, I think it's a lot easier to deal with losing a loved one who's died like that when you understand that it's natural instead of the opposite, which a 50-50 chance. A lot of people in their minds think that their loved one is either right now in heaven enjoying themselves or the other place. And I just don't think it's healthy. I mean, first of all, it's not realistic. But second of all, just thinking that your loved one is burning for eternity is just not a healthy approach to that at all, I don't think.
Or even think that they've done something to deserve that death, that came to them at that particular point in time. And,
for a short lifetime of mistakes, right?
And in times like that, isn't it important that we experience what actually happens? We experience the reality, and we don't need to, or I don't need to make up things to try to make it easier on myself or my family or anything.
Well, let's try another line here. Good morning, caller.
Yes, hi. Kind of a related comment as far as you were mentioning on death.
Sure.
One thing with people, and you had mentioned about the loss of a loved one, is that with people who are religious, a lot of times people will have questions like, well, why did it have to happen to this particular person? And religious people would say, well, this is God's way of saying something or doing something. And that's a concept that I personally don't necessarily agree with, because I lost my wife last year at the young age of 29. And I still, think that there were things that could have done differently. She had a long-standing illness, and people in her family who are very religious think that it was God's way of now, I myself personally am not an atheist. However, my beliefs are kind of in a state of gestation, let's say. But as far as that's concerned, they said, well, God felt it was a better thing to do. I personally don't agree with that concept. I think that God would have better things to do than to take my wife. But another item also to go along with that is, like you said, it's kind of difficult if you're a person who is an atheist to make sure that your family, because funerals really are for the living, not for the dead.
Absolutely, yes.
If you're dead, you're gone. And maybe if, like probably you folks who are heavily involved in this organization would probably want to make sure that the wishes of that person were met. But for everybody else, it has to do with the rest of the family and how they're going to handle the particular arrangements. But from my perspective, I get confused when people say, well, God had better things for him or her to do. And also you were mentioning about the burning in hell concept for some people, and other people think, well, gee, he or she is in a better place. For the Roman Catholic point of view, there's purgatory, which gives you the opportunity to technically atone for your sins. So it's like you're standing at the bus station for potentially all eternity until you fix what you did wrong, supposedly.
I don't know where they came up with that whole concept, but it's their own little safety valve.
And limbo too, same thing. If you're not baptized, we have a place for you too.
Right. Well, then again, that depends on your particular religious outlook. Also, some of them say that, gee, if you were never baptized, that's why Catholics baptize you at a young age. But then Baptists believe that you have to be saved because it has to be a cognizant decision that, gosh, you're going to change your life now that you're 14 or 15 or even older. Normally they won't baptize someone who's too much younger unless they can really outwardly make a decision that they think that let's go to Jesus kind of a concept.
All right. And it brought up some excellent points there. Did you have any other comments?
I guess that's about all.
Let me ask you something, Mark. Have you ever known an atheist?
When I was younger, probably when I was in high school, I would say that I might have. However, that's the kind of thing that you really, as you get older, you really have to do more soul searching on. Someone, I would say, and this is not to throw bad comments on someone who's younger, but that's just the kind of thing that even somebody who might possibly be a committed atheist might still occasionally have questions about their beliefs like that, because that's an ongoing internal battle. That's what makes us human.
Well, one thing I found that, especially now that came out of the closet, I guess, or whatever, with my own TV show and everybody knows I'm an atheist.
Sure.
That they catch the little things I say from day to day or whatever. I was, the other day I was saying something. I was so happy about something. I was in heaven, and
right.
And the guy's like, "Aren't you an atheist?" And I was like, "Yeah, you're right. I don't know where that came from. It's because it's just little slips, that.
Does that mean that you can't like the band Nirvana?
Oh yeah, well.
Concepts like that.
Who thinks of religion at that point, right?
Yes.
Right. But still, the idea anyway. But I don't know how familiar you guys are with Carl Sagan, and he wasn't necessarily an atheist by any means, but he was constantly in search of what his own religious beliefs were, and I found him somewhat of a source of inspiration just because he was always searching for what is the truth, the eternal truth. And one thing that I think is it's very human of us to constantly question. And if we didn't, and you could say to some people, well, maybe it's God's design for us to possibly continually search, if there is the concept of a God, and the only problem that I have with organized religion, for the most part, in Christianity, I would say, as far as America covers, probably about 85% of the population, not necessarily the world. You can't tell them that Islam isn't big worldwide. But sorry guys, I guess I'm running on for you.
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm sorry.
No, we're talking about.
We got stage managers here.
Oh, is the show running short?
Well, almost.
We do have several callers on the line.
I apologize. All right, thanks, guys.
Very intelligent, excellent call.
Okay, bye.
Yes, you have a good day, Mark.
I didn't mean to do that. Sorry.
No, because that was a very intelligent, eloquent put there. So we do appreciate your calls.
And we appreciate tolerance. I mean,
yes.
that's it's kind of a big deal to us.
Okay, and
we kind of need tolerance.
So we're going down here to Roy.
To the land of make-believe?
Yeah, what do you mean the land of make-believe?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to cue up our sound guy.
It's a joke.
It's the third time, too, and he's not here.
Oh, sorry, I didn't catch it.
Bad.
That's it. Do it again later.
I just wanted to address the panel. I was a total atheist. I'm from St. Louis, by the way. Hey, St. Louis.
Yeah, okay.
Beautiful city.
Mom.
You are? Oh, that's awesome. I
Lost monitor.
was bowling.
We don't get anything.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Now we got it.
Now,
Yeah,
somebody. Sorry about that.
Oh, sorry. I turned my back.
Oh, okay. Go right ahead, then. Well, you had a comment there, isn't it?
Well, I was bowling, and I didn't believe in God for...
Go ahead. Well,
he got himself laughing there, I guess. He had his own inside joke going there.
that's okay.
I wanted to hear it too.
Yeah, we love a joke.
Good morning, caller.
Yes, hello?
Hello.
How are you doing?
Juan?
Yes.
Good morning, caller.
Good. How to do? I'd like to read a passage from Scripture, y'all don't mind?
Quickly?
Okay.
Quickly.
This is from Psalms 14. It says,
Sure.
The fool has said in his heart, there is no God.
Yes.
They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none who does good. Can y'all comment on that for me, please?
My own personal comment. Anytime anybody brings up anything to do with the scripture, anything else, it's just hearsay on top of hearsay. It's a fable. It's a myth. It's been carried, on through. So I don't find any basis for the scripture to be used in any argument. That's why we don't use the scripture on this show. We don't quote from the Bible from this show because it's nonsense. It's not a historical state, evidence to use or whatever.
I've heard that quote many times, actually. It's actually been told to me directly many times. I would call that an ad hominem attack, which means you're attacking the person on the other side of the argument instead of the argument. And
this isn't me attacking y'all. It's God. God is the one who said this. It wasn't, me, or it wasn't the person, whoever wrote
the thing is, it comes from an emotional standpoint. It's an appeal to emotion via an ad hominem attack. And if God has to resort to that, then surely He's not all knowledgeable, all powerful at all.
Well, it's God warning His people. God warning the people who don't believe in Him. If you read further down, it'll explain it also.
And like I said, anybody that uses the Bible to support, because the Bible has been used to support Jonestown, David Koresh, all Hitler. Anybody who wants can go through and pick up that book and use it as a basis for any bad argument that you can think of, from slavery to wife beating or whatever. Yeah,
and it
has been through the history.
It still is.
Anybody that uses the scripture as a basis for any argument, to me, is on the losing argument right from the start. When you use that, you got to use common sense, logical facts to sway me on anything.
Yeah.
Well, so you're saying
like y'all were saying, David Koresh,
the Bible must be.
Like y'all were talking about David Koresh and everything. Yeah, he used the scripture and everything, but he took scripture out of context. He was saying